Alrighty, everybody. We are back here with John Wade. We're back for the third round. Next up is at 80. Currently, the Jags just took Chattanooga at 70, so we've got 9 more picks until the Texans go. They took Jalen Petrie and John Metchi earlier today, two of my favorite players in this class. I really loved it. John, you really loved it too, right?
Do I not? Sorry. You said how
You like the picks?
Yeah, I
Petrie
like
and Metchi?
I really like Petrie. Minchie, I mean, he's from the more pro scouts out there. He's getting a lot of love.
Yeah.
And if you look up like his 40 real quick, you gotta remember that's from high school.
Yep.
And this guy was an absolute target hog on the same receiving corps that had Jameson Williams. Like, so there's something to that.
Yeah.
Apparently, I think it was RG3 put out there that he is the best pure route runner in the draft, and people would have been aware of that if he didn't tear his ACL.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm excited for him.
I like him. I think we'd be more hyped up if he didn't get injured and we got to see him play through playoffs, get to see him do well at the combine, all that good stuff. But if that happened, we wouldn't have been able to get him at 44.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, I think part of it is also we traded quite a few picks to go get him.
Yeah, that's the.
And honestly, I forgot about him. Like I said at the time of the pick, it's like, yeah, I remember him being a good player. I remember him being, for some reason, he sort of reminded me of like a Brandon Brooks type player, another like shifty guy. Not the fastest top end speed, but super shifty.
Yeah.
Solid route runner. I honestly completely forgot about him. Didn't watch tape on him. I'm just remembering what I watched from like college football.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, he's definitely one of the best route runners in this class. A great yak guy. Best out the slot, but he can also play a little bit outside. I like the Metchi addition. I think it'll really just help out Cooks and Nico, and those two will also help out Metchi. So it's a good threesome there. But moving on to pick 80. People have been clamoring for a running back. I think that's very likely. I think they would love Isaiah Spiller or Brian Robinson. Do you think that running back now or later still?
I still go with later.
Okay.
I still go with later. I mean, the running backs that are available now, none of them really truly jump off to me. I could be wrong, but there's some I'm wrong. Right now, I just think that you'll be able to get production from two running backs later in the draft versus still trying to push it for someone like Spiller. Even though, I mean, he's a hometown boy, so people love him.
Yeah.
They really do.
You can have the Kenyon Green connection, too.
Yeah.
The Texas A&M connection.
I mean, we're still – if you're looking for a guy to be a bell cow, you want to be when your team's a little bit further along, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now's the time to do it by committee, see who emerges. And then next year is a good running back draft as well.
Really good. Much better.
Really, really good next year. I mean, Bijan Robinson, if he doesn't go in the first round, I'll be actually surprised.
Yeah.
And
he's different.
So it's like you wait a year.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or
that's fair.
Reaching for one.
I think there's some really talented defenders that have been falling. N'Kobe Dean is one of them. He's my 6th overall player on my board. But apparently he's had a torn pectoral, a torn labrum, and he was recommended to get surgery, but he didn't want to get surgery.
No, he pushed off surgery. So he will get surgery after the draft. He will be out 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
So he would miss everything in the offseason.
Yeah.
For Dean, what you're going to hope for with him is he's athletic, he's going to be, you want him to be very aware of how the defense plays. Like he's going to end up being the quarterback of whatever defense he's on.
Yep.
So I can kind of understand, and maybe there's part of it, just will he stay healthy?
It's tough because he's 5'11", like 228 or something like that. He's built more like a safety than he is like a linebacker. So it's tough for durability.
I mean, with linebackers, it's been the same thing as running backs. Just today's NFL doesn't value them like it used to.
The history of taking linebackers in the first round, not very pretty. But if you're the Texans, taking that risk in the 3rd round is something I'd be willing to do. It's something that Nick Caserio has mentioned that, players that might miss their rookie season, might miss some time, like that's okay because at the end of the day, we're looking at the long term. We're not looking about year 1. We're looking about year 4, 5, 6. So Kobe Dean would definitely interest me. I think other defenders who are falling, Travis Jones, the defensive tackle at UConn, he'd be a great run stopper to add. I think that's definitely something we need to improve. And then there was one more name I want to bring up, Perion Winfrey, another defensive tackle. He's a good run defender and a good pass rusher. So he would add some depth to that D-line that I really like. Are there any other names that you'd like around this range, Sean?
Yeah, I need to get a list up. There's a lot of guys still left that I like.
Yeah.
You don't know how it is.
Yeah. Okay. So the Bears took Velus Jones Jr. at 71. I like that pick for them just to feel finally gets another weapon. Jones is one of my favorite sleepers. Really good kick returner. Kind of raw of a route runner, but he's got potential there. So what's really interesting is the quarterbacks are still here. At 80, you start to entertain a guy like Malik Willis. Because, man, that is an insane slide for him. I would entertain Malik Willis. I'd be completely happy with him at 80. I think it's one of the highest upside picks you could have right now. All right. We got any questions going in? Being at 81 outside of Travis, that's going to be a smart thing to do, to be honest. And Lee says, which is the best running back left that the Texans should pick? My highest running back is Dameon Pierce out of Florida. That's who I think they should go if they do end up going running back. There's also Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M, and Brian Robinson out of Alabama, and Samir White out of Georgia. So they've got options. Two, Seahawks pick is in. I think running back's a big need. I also think defensive end is a big need. They seem to kind of ignore that a little bit so far. I think they need a starter, obviously John Bernard. They signed Antonio Okoronkwo. He projects more of a designated pass rusher, someone to come off the bench and play more passing downs than run downs. So talking about defensive ends that we can go after, I would really like Jesse Lucetta out of Penn State. He's one of my guys. Really, really good run defender. He's such a nasty physical run defender. He gets after it. He's got a physical motor, non-stop motor. He's just dog. So that would be one guy I would look at for. Majai Sanders out of Cincinnati. He's a bit more of a pass rusher and run defender. He's got upside to be like 8-9 sacks per year type of guy. Don't want Willis with 80, but damn, what a drop. Why don't you want Willis with at 80, Travis? I think that would be a steal. I think in the third round, Malik Willis, man, the upside is just too great. Oh, the Colts took Jelani Woods. Damn. That was one of the tight ends I wanted us to get. And that's perfect for the Colts. I hate that one. The Colts did well, man. Alec Pierce and Jelani Woods for Matt Ryan.
I mean, the Colts are going to be the best team in the South this year. That would suck.
The best in the division, you think? Yeah.
Yeah. Easily.
Ali wants to know, what do we think of the receiver we got, John Metchi? I absolutely love him. Canadian. He's an Asian Canadian like yourself, like myself. Played at Alabama, so the SEC competition. He was able to dominate that as a youngster. Similar storyline with Derek Stingley, right? And you had guys like Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Jameson Williams. John Metchi always stood out and was always making plays. Now, is he going to be your top wide receiver, your wide receiver 1? No. We got cooked for that. He's going to be your wide receiver 2, maybe eventually. But we even got Nico Collins for that. So if you put him in at number 3, he's going up against the third best cornerback on opposing teams, man. Like, he's going to host them. I think he's exactly what we needed in terms of a guy who is a really good route runner who can separate versus man coverage, and also a really good yak thrower. You know Pep Hamilton? what we've seen historically is that he wants to use the quick game. He wants to get yak and use that as an extension of the run game. And Metchi's going to be perfect for that. On the screens, on slants, just manufacturing touches. So I really like the Metchi pick. I know we traded a good amount of capital to move up. I think we traded 2/4 and a third. But those picks make you feel better because we gain picks back in return for trading out for Kenny. So those two kind of help balance each other out. So overall, I like the Metchi pick. Probably give it like a B+, A-.
Yeah, I think that the problem with the Metchi pick is the exact same problem I had. Everybody just forgot about him. He doesn't get entered in the SEC championship. He plays in the playoffs, plays in the championship game, goes through the draft process. Everybody would be excited about it.
Yeah, and he was getting late first round hype before the injury. So I think we got pretty good value there, honestly.
I mean, with as deep as the Alabama receiving core is, this guy was a target hog. He received, I think it was 36% of their passes. Like that's a pretty big share. Especially for a team that is that talented.
Exactly, John.
Oh, look at this. Another South Carolina guy that I think will actually be a steal. Kingsley Ngabare. He was either 1 or 2 on PFF's pass rush win rate. There we go. Like he was one of the highest rated pass rushers by PFF. They liked him a lot.
Okoronkwo? The guy from the
Problem with the Kingsley Ngabare. He's still available.
Oh, Kingsley Ngabare. Oh. Yeah, he's honestly, I thought he was pretty overrated. I think he's one of those guys where the stats look really good, but the film, he's just very, very inconsistent. I think he's very raw. So I don't know. It's intriguing, but he's not one of my guys that I like, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm always biased because he's a South Carolina guy.
Yeah, I'm not going to be right on everything, man.
No, I mean, but what I liked about him, and part of the reason I think that he actually fell, is he doesn't have a position in the NFL.
He doesn't have a position yet.
He doesn't have a position. He projects better if he moves inside. If you leave him as a defensive end. But on a 3-4, being the under tackle, like that could be an interesting fit for him.
I hear you.
And PFF loved him.
Yeah, PFF loved him. They know what they're doing, for the most part.
Sometimes. Hey, Desmond Ridder.
Finally, the Falcons. That's a good move for them.
Yeah.
Funny enough, my comp for him is Marcus Mariota, and now he'll get to learn behind him. Third round is a much better spot because he was getting first round hype, and I was not seeing it. Not seeing it whatsoever. Third round, that's a good spot for Desmond Ridder. Not going to be pushed to play right away. He should be a starter for him.
Well, what's interesting about him not being pressured to play right away is he's probably the most pro ready.
He's up there, yeah.
If he's consistent and he learns how to deal with the dirty pocket, he's not a bad prospect.
Yeah, he's pretty high floor.
Yeah,
decent ceiling too, because he's athletic.
Actually, I wouldn't say high. I wouldn't say high floor. Like he's got a medium ceiling, but I wouldn't. He doesn't do well with a muddy pocket, which is why I was super surprised that there were several very well-known analysts that had him as their top quarterback.
Yeah, a lot of the guys from Bleacher Report, PFF, all those big name media companies, they loved him.
Yeah,
really
and one of the better indicators usually for NFL success is how do they handle things that are off script when things break down.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. He is phenomenal on script.
Yep.
He's actually really, really good on script. I mean, he has moments where he looks like he's the most accurate quarterback in this year's draft, and then he has moments that you're like, why is he considered draft?
That's the thing.
But when he is on and he's on script, he looks really, really good.
Yeah.
He usually falls off script when people make a move.
Yep.
And for an athletic quarterback, that's not a good thing.
No, it's not what you would hope for. So they're going to really have to support him with a good offensive line, good weapons. And Arthur Smith is a good offensive line. So, the Texans traded up. Texans are on the clock at 75. This kind of makes me think it's a quarterback because Desmond Ritter just went and now they're trading up.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That is really interesting. I don't know where they're going to go with
Looks
this.
like it was a good call to hop on when we did.
Yeah. We're going to get joined by John Hickman from Locked On Texans here in a second. You ready, boy? We're on the clock.
We're on the clock.
I feel like it has to be for a quarterback because Desmond Ritter just went. Why else would we trade up? Like, if it's a run on quarterbacks, that might be it. I'm thinking, man. I think they're starting to run on quarterbacks since Desmond Ritter just went. I don't see why else they would trade up. I don't think it's likely, but man. Nick do not care. Oh, the pick is out there. I don't want to see it, though. I don't want to get it spoiled. Oh, God. Yeah, do you want to see it? Texans trading up again. Who do you want, John? Because I know there's a lot of talented players right now that are falling on the board. Looks like Texans trying to capitalize on that.
Running back makes sense right now.
Running back does make sense. Let us know how audio sounds now that we have 3 people on the stream, guys. Yeah, we had 80.
I'm excited to see, man. I think a running back makes sense.
Running back would make sense. Who be your guy?
Man, who's left? We talked about Damian Pierce. Walker's off the board.
I think Isaiah Spiller or Brian Robinson could be the move.
I could definitely see Isaiah Spiller out of Texas.
Another hometown kid. Oh, man. Can we hear them? Oh.
Wow.
Interesting. Christian Harris, the linebacker out of Alabama, is the pick.
Did they get there? No. I mean,
man.
he's consensus top 90.
Okay. Here's my take on Harris. He was getting a lot of first-round hype earlier in the season, and I thought that was too much. But I think I ended up having him as a third-rounder. So the value is not bad. I guess it depends how much we traded up for him. That's the wrong guy. Christian Harris. What did I get?
I'm
the 4th-round grade, so a little bit of a
79 tackles last year, almost 6 sacks, almost 12 tackles for loss. I don't necessarily think that's too much of a bad pick.
Yeah, it's not horrible. He's another one of these guys who's really young and has played really well as a young player. He's only 21 right now. He's a 3-year starter for Alabama. And he's dealt with some injuries in 2018 and 2021. But he's one of these high upside guys. He's a great athlete. He fits what Lovie Smith wants as a linebacker. Very athletic, undersized, good in coverage, really good blitzer. So we can see if we can blitz some more. This one caught me off guard, guys.
And I think what's interesting about it the most is I think this entire offseason, guys, we've heard Lovie Smith mention some of the things he needed to run his defense successfully. And if we think about Lovie Smith and defense, you can't not think about Brian Urlacher. You can't not think about Charles Tillman. I'll look at Tommy Harrison, the big D tackle that they had back in the day. So we look at 3rd overall, we see a Charles Tillman type of maybe player who can create turnovers at their cornerback position.
Yep.
Christian Harris, I think, has a lot of upside. Great in open field.
Yep.
So that's a plus. Trading up at 75, maybe that's a player you could have got at 80.
Yeah.
Maybe Houston heard that there were other teams.
They must have. Yeah.
I mean, he's got probably the best measurables of anybody left at linebacker. I mean, the knock on him from actually Lance Zierlein says that he's going to be exploited in the passing game, and he doesn't have good play recognition. So, I mean, it almost sounds like he's Zach Cunningham replacement.
That's a decent one for him. So I'm seeing now the trade compensation that we gave up. We gave up 80 and 172 for the 75th pick. So I think 172 is like a 6th rounder.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's either early 6th or a late 5th. Can't be mad. Honestly, I'm not too mad at that. There's only one pick we give up.
And I think when you look at the running back position, maybe trading up for Harris is a little bit too much, a linebacker, but a lot of people want the Texans to address that running back room. Still a lot of players left out there. They still have a 4th round, a couple of 5th round picks, so maybe they'll address it then. But so far for me, I think this has been a very potential type of draft.
Yes.
If they all hit out and pan out great, then potentially we may look back 5 years later and say the Texans killed that draft.
Yeah.
But if injuries take place and guys are not able to play at the NFL level, it's very interesting to see how it play out.
It's a bit of a boomer bust draft class so far. But that's our 2nd Alabama player. So it's interesting. And our 3rd SEC player. So
3rd SEC, yeah.
So we're going with the big school programs that have played against high competition. There's really a trend with all these guys. The younger players played against good competition, high potential, had some injury risks. So that's Nick Caserio's blueprint so far.
What does Houston have left?
Oh man, that's $1 million question. I think they have 8 picks left now. It should be 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th.
Is it 2 in the 6th?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't really know. I'm gonna try and find it on Twitter.
And here's another thing. Okay, we talked about the running back position, but the edge rusher position, who do they feel will be available in the 4th round that's worth taking a chance on?
Yeah.
That's the position that you need some depth at, running back. And we talked about this via text and Twitter and in person.
Yeah.
Will they address the tight end position?
Dude, they need to. Charlie Kohler, that's our guy. I think they can get one of those late round tight ends and he can play pretty quickly, honestly. Charlie Kohler would be great. He's got the size, the blocking. But yeah, going to your original point at defensive end, I think them pushing that off this far kind of speaks to maybe they already have a free agent lined up. They just had a visit with Rasheem Green I think last week. So maybe that's
from Seattle.
Yes, Seattle guy. He's pretty good. I think he's only 24 years old, so he's got some upside on him still. So maybe that's their plan for the defensive end opposite John Purdue. That's the only way it makes sense to be waiting for a defensive end this long.
Well, at least we can say, guys, that when we look at some of the needs, the in-season needs that we were immediately calling out last year, hey, our corners are getting roasted. Hey, this is one of the historically worst running teams ever. Hey, we may lose Justin Reed, ended up losing Justin Reed. We needed a safety. Then the wide receiver. It looks like a lot of those questions were answered. And maybe Lovey just wanted to get his own linebacker in to kind of coach up himself.
Yeah. I think the
Texans love some linebackers.
They do. They really do.
It's like 12 on the roster right now.
I know, right? I mean, with Lovey's defense, he needs people that can cover zones. He needs athletic people that can expand the zone.
Of course, the Ravens get Travis Jones. Of course they do.
Of course.
But yeah, Christian Harris, I think you're absolutely right. I don't know if he's going to start over Cameron Grugier-Hill or Christian Kersey. He's more of a will linebacker, so that'll be Cameron Grugier-Hill's position. But I think he's the guy that you develop behind Grugier-Hill, and then eventually he'll start in a year or two.
Grugier only signed a 2-year?
I think it's 2 year, right? So you got 2 years to develop Christian Harris, basically. Man, look at that draft class for the freaking Ravens.
Yeah, the Ravens.
Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, David Ojabo, and Travis Jones. Those are 4 guys who've had first-round players. 4 guys. Jesus Christ. Okay, now that this pick has been made, what would you guys give it in terms of a letter grade for Christian Harris? A letter grade.
I'm sorry.
How would you grade the Christian Harris pick? A, C, F?
For Harris?
For Harris.
Between a C plus and a B minus.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think that trading up for it at 75, he's not a player like, wow. He's a day one guy that can potentially make an impact.
Exactly.
So, and I know you would normally reserve that A grading for those type of players.
Yep.
But, what he can possibly do for Houston as a situational linebacker, special teams. This is a franchise that models the New England Patriots. They love that special team aspect.
Yep.
He may be able to impact the game that way, just not a down in and down out starter.
Yeah. He's going to take some time. He's a little bit raw. He's a great athlete, but he needs to learn how to play football more.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
But he's uber talented.
Uber athletic. But you can do a lot with him. He's not just run defender. You can keep him on the field on third downs. But yeah, I'm with you. Honestly, I'd give it a C. I just think there were better players on the board. I don't know if we needed to trade up. I guess they felt that they did. But there's a lot of
Well, I mean,
they
stepped in front of the Ravens to get him. That says something.
Yeah.
I mean, I give it a C+. Because he's instantly the most athletic linebacker we have. Which, I mean, he's got all the measurables. But the reason I say C+ is every time I say that about draft picks, I end up regretting it. I said that about Lonnie Johnson when we drafted him. He had the best measurables at corner. I mean, just for reference. And like I said all night, these are just lottery tickets. So you choose something, either production or measurables, and you kind of roll with it. And he's got a mixture of both. He was productive.
He had 80 tackles in each of the last 2 seasons. He had 11.5 tackles for loss in 2021, 5.5 sacks in 2021, and 4.5 sacks in 2020. So that's a big part of his game, and his biggest value really is the athletic. He's so explosive, so fast. He ran a 4.44 40, which is wide receiver speed. So that's where I'll be interested to see. Lovie Smith is actually willing to blitz his linebacker. Because he doesn't really like to blitz Kirksey and Kenny Butcher-Hill. But if you don't do that with Harris, you're losing out on his best skill set.
I will say, we look at the Texans draft overall. I think they were able to get some players that has a real dog mentality.
Yeah.
That doesn't come with dog mentality issues off the field, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is an organization that, has preached, do your job, come in like a very blue-collar 9-to-5 type of organization. So they were able to find players that fit that mold, but they have that dog mentality out on the field if they all are all able to stay healthy.
That's what it is, man. That's what it comes down to. They're swinging for the fences.
Well, I think the plan with him will be quite simple. You bring him in as a blitzer for 2 years and see if his instincts develop. If they develop, then he's going to be a steal. If they don't develop, well, you got a special team for a 3rd-round pick or a 4th-round pick. Third-round pick. I'm sorry, I am losing my mind.
That's the excitement from the draft. The last year, when the 3rd round, this is when the show would probably start for everybody, right?
Exactly, man.
And finally drafted.
We already had, 4, 5, 6? 5.
For last year, 5.
5. Stingley, Green, Metchi, Metchi, and Harris.
Here's another thing that Aaron Wilson just pointed out. Remember the college football national championship? Christian Harris.
He had
3 sacks, 4 tackles, or TFLs, and a forced fumble.
That was his best game ever.
Yeah.
That was his best game ever. He
And
balled out that game.
have you guys remembered or maybe thought of the fact that there is a Patriot-Alabama relationship?
Yep.
Nick spent 20 plus years in New England, where they had a great relationship with Nick Saban, his head coach at the time. And I'm sure those guys talk football for hours. And so it's not a problem for him to call him up and say, hey, yo, Nick, I'm interested in this player. Tell me about him on the field. More important, tell me about his character. And 2 Alabama players.
Says something, man. They want these big program guys. Another SEC guy. Man. I think Nick is really laying out the blueprint for what we can expect for the future years as well.
And you can't be mad at him, right? He's a GM right now that took a lot of scrutiny. You hired David Culley and kind of the offseason the last couple of years. So right now, with that Deshaun Watson, those picks they got back from Cleveland, They're really willing and dealing. He is swinging for the fences.
Yes, sir. And I like it, honestly. This is a franchise that has historically never really liked to take risks, but they're doing it now.
I mean, you can't fix it in 1 year.
Yeah, what's
You can't fix the Texans in 1 year.
No.
So taking these guys with as many picks as we still have, like, I'm happy with that mentality. Like, these are not the safest picks, because even sometimes those safe picks blow up in your face. Take the guys that may need to be brought in a little bit slower this year.
Really quick, guys, before I get out of here. Malik Willis is still on the board.
I thought we were trading up for him, man. I thought we were trading up for him. Just right after Desmond Ritter went, I don't know what the hell is happening. Maybe there's some scandal we don't know about. That's the only thing that would make sense, man.
Well, there's the rumor on Twitter is it's because of his representation.
I don't know. I don't think.
What is his representation?
Really got it, right?
Mulligata?
I don't know.
That explains why Carolina hasn't taken it. You screwed us once. We don't want that again.
Maybe, man. Maybe. But I guess we don't have any more picks in the third round, right? So we can kind of call this.
Yeah, we're done. Unless they trade up.
Done. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Check out everyone's Twitter at John A. Wade 03, I believe, on Twitter, and John_Hickman.
John_Hickman 12.
12. That's what it is. I knew it was the numbers. That's what it is, guys. Follow these fine gentlemen on Twitter. Check out their good content. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see. Actually, we won't see you tomorrow. But
Travis. No, Travis. My boy Travis Witherspoon. Shout out to you, Travis.
That's the boy. Alrighty, y'all. Take care. Have a good weekend.